How to Train Your Dragon is one of my favorite animated movies of all time. It's magical, it's whimsical, it's touching, it's beautiful, it has an amazing soundtrack, it has amazing visuals and animation that still hold up well to this day. And it's a beloved classic from DreamWorks catalog. And then it got made to live action, which actually looked promising when I first saw the visuals and trailers. Though admittedly, I was very skeptical because if you know anything about live action remakes and a certain studio, I was cautiously optimistic on this movie. And as it turns out, this movie was not that bad. The music is still spectacular, the acting is not that bad overall. Gerard Butler coming back not just to voice Stoic but also be him was cool. The annoying side characters are still annoying, but arguably more annoying in this one if I'm being real. And overall, it still seemed like it's the same movie, right? Well, yes, but not fully, as they did make some changes. Some that I liked and some that I thought was a bit weird. They framed this movie as a shot-for-shot remake of the original, and while it mainly is, they removed some scenes, added some shots, and extended the dialogue for some parts where it was not that needed. And this is a bit noticeable for me, but the characters just talked a lot slower to one another. It resulted in the movie being 20 minutes longer than the original. The animated movie was fast-paced, and for a 98-minute runtime, it was packing a lot, and yet the story still felt cohesive and well put together for the animated movie. The live-action remake didn't really feel that fast-paced, except on the couple of times when Hiccup is riding on Toothless, and we just have them flying around almost exactly the same as the animated movie. One of the disadvantages about live-action movies is that in animation, you have free control of the characters' movements and can make them move quick and fluid. Outside of animation, you're dealing with this pesky little thing called physics, and that tends to make a lot of moments when characters are fighting seem very slow and rigid, often making this movie feel a bit awkward at points. Especially when a lot of these characters have such bulky outfits. I mean, look at Stoic. I'm not gonna latch onto that too much though, because there is other stuff I do want to talk about. I did say this movie did add some extra dialogue that some I feel like is whatever, others felt like an actual extension to conversations that take place, and one felt very off that I wanted to point out. In the animated movie, the scene when Gobber tells the students to read up on the Book of Dragons, Hiccups tries to engage in small talk with Astrid before she just promptly leaves.
So I guess we'll share?
Reddit.
All mine then.
In this movie, they talk a bit more. Astrid putting Hiccup below her, yeah, that's expected, but also giving her a motivation that is never brought up in the original movies. She wants to be chief. What? In the original movies, yes, we do know she becomes chief because she marries Hiccup by the end. But in this one, she just wants to be chief for the sake of being chief. That's not Astrid. She wanted to join the fight that the Vikings had, and she didn't really want to be chief in the first movie. She just gave Hiccup a hard time, but didn't want to steal that title from him. This isn't a major issue, just something weird that I thought was worth pointing out. Some other changes that they did make, which I actually did want to see more fleshed out, is Snotlout wanting validation from his dad. Snotlout is annoying in this movie, yes, but they did try to give him a compelling arc, sort of. They had the right idea. They had the right motivations there. Snotlout is constantly being looked down on by his own dad, but they rarely ever touch on it except here and there throughout the whole movie. And it almost never gets time in order to be fleshed out, to be built upon, so that we can have a reason to like Snotlout and his character arc. It just happens in the background, and I really wish it was given a little more attention so I can have a reason to like Snotlout, but it just kind of resolved itself at the end, out of nowhere. It's just something I wish had more screen time so that we could see it develop. Another change, well, more like addition, is that they mentioned Hiccup's mom a lot more in this movie, and given how there's already a sequel in the works, this is a change I actually like since they give up more build up to her reveal in the next movie. A major issue I had in the original films is that the first movie mentioned his mom only once and never again.
To keep you safe in the ring.
Wow. Thanks.
Your mother would have wanted you to have it. It's half of her breastplate. Matching set. Keeps her close, you know.
And then in the second film, she's only briefly mentioned once by Hiccup,
I never met my mother.
then never again until her reveal. Not even Stoic mentions her. He only mentions her after she gets revealed. So in the live action movie, mentioning her more often, and if all goes well in the second movie, I'm happy with this change as long as the buildup is actually good in the next film. Another thing that I do want to talk about is that even though this is a nitpick, is that they removed the scene when Toothless and Hiccup are eating and they get interrupted by the small, terrible terrors. It's a cute little scene, yes, but it lets Hiccup find out that dragons are not fireproof on the inside, which allows him to defeat the Red Death at the end of the movie. Those are really the only notable changes that I feel are worth bringing up. Aside from that, everything else is pretty much the same. How to Train Your Dragon live action is just How to Train Your Dragon animated translated into live action. So the story is still good and you will still find this movie fun with very little core changes to the movie. But then that begs the question for me. Is it better for a live action movie to just copy the story or change it to try and make it better? And to that I say, I don't know. I mean, I do want to see changes that positively impact the movie. Like I said, if Snot Loud's arc was actually fleshed out more and not put in the background, I would have liked this change a lot. But at the same time, I don't want core aspects of the film to change and be a different movie. And for that, I think it highly depends on the person watching the film. And for me, I think it depends on the movie itself and what changes or not were made to the movie. This isn't a bad live action movie by all means. It's still good, and it's infinitely better than 90% of Disney's live actions catalog. Though, to you who is watching this, please let me know what you prefer in a live action movie, because my thoughts on it are conflicted, and I just like to get to know what others think. With that said, I still like this movie, and I'd still give this a 7 out of 10, and I will rewatch this movie definitely. However, if someone were to ask me if I had to choose between this or the animated movie, I'm picking the animated movie every single time, every second of the day. Seriously, the movie is one of the few movies I'd give a 10 out of 10 masterpieces. Go watch it if you haven't. And with that said, good night, everyone.